Alrighty, hello everyone, welcome to Cinderful Gaming. Hope you're all doing well, hope everyone is staying safe, and most of all, hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. We are painting up some Riders of Rohan today. So we're going to start on the leather. I've pretty much finished the horses off, so it's a matter of getting the leather strapping done on all the horses, and then starting to work on the riders after that. So leather strapping is probably going to be most of our job today. We're going to start with a base coat of dryad bark for the leather before a couple of layer paints. We'll get that going. If you're joining us live, let us know what hobby you're working on or what you've been doing. Love to hear from everyone. And so we're working on some Rohan. Got something on this brush. Oh, we're just going to pick a different one, and I'll sort that out later. This one. Yeah, if you're live, let us know what hobby you're working on. We're working our way through all the strapping. Yeah, so finished painting my Aeronautica Imperialis the other day, which was nice. So now we've got a nice little set of that. First sort of set done for that. So hopefully we'll have a battle report and some content out for Aeronautica Imperialis very soon. And then we're going to be getting some Middle-earth stuff happening. That's why we're painting this. So we're just working on the leather strapping on the horse for now, because we'll do the leather strapping on the rider slightly different. This will be our second army done up for Middle-earth. I've already got an Eastlings army painted up in the cabinet just there. Quite excited to get Middle-earth as a regular game on the channel. I think one of the better game systems that Games Workshop produce as a system, right up there with like Warcraft for me. So you're just revitalizing these. I bought all this Rohan secondhand, so it's mostly just bringing it all back to life, really. So I got 15 riders to do, and I got a ton of infantry to do, just to get all my Rohan stuff all done. Got a few characters. I got Theoden, I got Erwin, Gamling, and Grimbold. Some characters. I also got like a Aragon Strider model there in the second hand lot I got. So got a cool little Aragon mini there to paint afterwards. I've sort of started been looking at like the other forces I want to bring into like the studio for the armies. We'll probably look at just getting the Battle Force box armies, I think. So we'll have like, obviously, except for Rohan, I'll just go buy an airmare because I don't need any of the troops in that. But yeah, so I'll probably look to get, the Mordor, the Isengard, and the Gondor boxes. Just to give us a few more forces in the game. Hey, Nate, how are we, mate? Things going better, man. Certainly improving. Over the past, the weeks, I've actually managed to, get back on the YouTube and start being able to do stuff again, which is good. Feeling better. Which is going well. Yourself, mate? So at the moment, we're just getting a Rohan force ready for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. Awesome, man. That's a good... Dude, know all about that sort of stuff. I've got my own daughter. She is nonverbal. And that is what it is. But you do feel better when you get back at it. It's a nice little, even de-stressing. Yeah, it's not always easy. It is a tough life, man. Hello to everyone joining us. Don't forget to drop a like. Let us know what hobby you're working on. Say hello. Let us know what you're doing. Love to hear from everyone that's dropping in. Right, just painting some Rohan models. Oh, nice. New camera. Camera is certainly something that's like on my list. I don't actually have anything but a webcam. Like, then again, like with battle reports, I guess like in the comparison to like hobby and painting channels, I'm not trying to get those real up and close looks. Like the hobby hangouts are more me connecting than me actually showing off any sort of hobby skill I might have. I might talk about what I'm doing, but it's mostly me here to chat with people. Certainly something I'll probably look on exploring, but yeah, I understand that like cameras are a lot more important for more hobby focused channels. Need the nice crisp look. Yeah, man. Or you can always pop on by here. This is probably where I play 99% of my games nowadays. Like it is the like catch-22. It's just so much easier to play a game in your own house when you've got a setup like I do. But yeah, I just finished painting up Aeronautica Imperialis, so there is certainly a game you want to try out. Let me know, and if I've got the stuff for it, I'm happy to give you a game or two, man. Always happy to catch up and have a game. So I just finished Army number 4 for 40k. That was the Space Marines. Yeah, man, I got Kings of War. I've got to get them painted, but I do have 3 Kings of War forces. So yeah, I've got 4 painted 40k armies now. I've now got 2 warbands painted for Moonstone. I've now got 4 warbands painted for Warcry. I've got a couple of painted warbands for Underworlds. I've got 2 painted armies for Conquest. I've got a painted army for Warhammer Fantasy. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably about 14 painted armies for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Then I've got my Elder Scrolls stuff painted as well. And a bunch of random other bits and pieces painted. Oh, and I've already got 1 Lord of the Rings army painted up. Got my Eastlings all done. Yeah, and there's this more. So this will be Middle Earth number 2. I mean, yeah, painting armies is my thing. Yeah, there's a lot. Like I do not have enough shelf space for all my armies anymore. I actually need to invest in more cabinets. So I've got the giant wall unit over there. I've got one cabinet there. Like I've got a bookshelf over there full of armies. I got two two bookshelves and a wall. I got a whole wall unit over there, and then I've got like a whole like shelving unit full of terrain and terrain packed underneath my table as well. There is a lot of stuff, a lot. But yeah, Kings of War, I've got 3 armies all ready to go. I just need to get them painted. They'll be soon. Conquest will be first, and Kings of War will probably be my next, like Portugal. So I've got the Halflings, the Rift Forged Orcs, and the Empire of Dust. So they're all like actual Kings of War minis. So I got the Storm in the Shire starter box and the Kings of War army set for the Empire of Dust. So all the new ones. I've not played a bolt action at all, Rock 2021. I guess my biggest thing with like bolt action is I'm not a big historical fan of like that era of like warfare. Like, if I was calling bolt action a historical, if I was to look into like historicals, I'd be much more into something like Hail Caesar. Would be where I would go. That's my sort of interest in historicals, is ancient history rather than modern history. But like I would never say never. If the channel's certainly got like enough people asking for something, I would certainly give it a look. Like I take it back, probably a year and a half ago, we did nothing but Age of Sigmar and Warcry, like an Age of Sigmar adjacent games, and then people asking for like our getting started videos on 40k, and so now we have pretty much every Games Workshop game running on the channel, bar Underworlds. And Adeptus Titanicus isn't up and running. And like I haven't recorded any Aeronautica stuff or Titanicus stuff yet, but I have both the games. But now we've had Middle-earth, Warcry, 40k all take place on the channel. We've got Kill Team, Aeronautica, and Titanicus, and 30k all on the way. Middle-earth's on the channel as well already. Kings of War wise, when I bought the army, I got the Storm in the Shire box set. Like, my biggest gripe with like Mantic was I wasn't a fan of their miniatures, and for the purpose of the channel, if I'm going to play an army from a game, I want to use the company's miniatures because I am trying to get people into the game and trying to get people to go to those companies and support that company and support the game they like. So when I'm not a fan of Kings of War's minis, I didn't really want to get into it. But I will say the latest releases from them have taken a huge step forward in miniatures for them. So well done to them. They won me over with the Halflings. I thought the Halfling miniatures, the Dog Cavalry, absolutely amazing. Have completely won me over. And so I look forward to getting into Kings of War. I know they just released 3 rules for their skirmish style game for Kings of War. So that will probably be what I'll look into getting armies up and ready for first. Kings of War is certainly on the horizon, I would say. I've got Conquest Last Argument of Kings, which will get worked on next, just because Parabellum are a big supporter of the channel. So I've got to, support the ones. But Mantic did send me out the Emperor Dust box set, completely free to check out. So they'll be getting done up soon as well. So I think like the plan for both those games, for Kings of War and Conquest, is to get regular content out for them of the skirmish style games. So we'll be doing a lot of First Blood. Like I said, Mantic just put out free rules for the skirmish version of Kings of War. So I'll look to get stuff out for them to begin with and slowly get those armies up and ready. Yeah, I've played a bit of one-page rules. In all honesty, I'm not the biggest fan of one-page rules. Because for me, it doesn't... Like, I play a lot of games because I like the worlds they're set in. For me, one-page rules, I'm just not interested because it doesn't have a fleshed-out, like, world. Right. I'm not really interested in using the minis I have in a simpler game. Like, yeah, one-page rules. I get why some people like it, and I really like, and they probably like it because it is a really important basic rule that you can play in a night. That's not what I'm into for a war game. I don't really care. Like, I like 40k in its current variation. I like that it's this super complicated game. Not everything needs to be a baseline game. Now, obviously, that has issues. 40k can take parts away, and I'm not saying, there shouldn't be easy games to play, but yeah, I'm just not interested in a simplified system for the sake of being a simplified system. If it's a simple system, like we could go, Moonstone is a really simple system to play. There's literally a dice roll for priority, and the rest is all based off actions that draw cards. Or, Warcry is a super simple system, but it has, a good narrative behind it. It's, it is still its game. It's not trying to be simple for the sake of being simple. Yeah, if I look at it this way, minis sell me the game, the narrative of the minis. I mean, everyone can go on about how expensive GW is, but the fact of the matter is GW has a cool narrative for its games, and I'm into that. That is why I buy GW miniatures. Not because of the rules. I certainly do not buy the rules, because bar maybe their two main games are not the best rule set. Although Age of Sigmar bar the GHB is in a really, really good place. And 40k, funnily enough, has a much better companion book style. The chapter approved is really good for 40k, which is actually Age of Sigmar's worst part at the moment. But yeah, it's a world that'll sell me on a game. I have no interest. There are miniature agnostic games that I like. I look at Vince Ventrella. He brought out Rain and Blood, and he built a really cool idea and world. And that's what sold me on Rain and Blood. I like Rain and Blood as a game. I like the idea of the world he's built around that game. Even though it's miniatures agnostic, it doesn't own its own minis, I can still get into that because he brought a really cool narrative to his game of, this fight for hell. And so that's what sells me on that. Same with in Space Station Zero. He's brought a cool narrative to the games, which I think is a little bit more than one-page rules. And I think that's what one-page rules is lacking on my end, and why I might not like one-page rules. That being said, I have played the system, and it works. It is a good system. There is no doubt about that. For everything I just said about how one-page rules isn't for me, I will 100% admit it is a good, solid rule system. It works. 100% it works. I have my worries, Rock 2021, because it's 6 months. There's so little lead time on that for a book. And knowing how 40k has changed in its 2 6-month books, and it's not a big change, they literally use the same missions, it doesn't leave me with a lot of hope, because I really do not like LA. I think the General's Handbook for me in Age of Sigmar is by far the biggest problem with the game. Bounty Hunters and Galatian Veterans are a terrible idea. The missions in general are not good in that GHB. I think you can go a competitive sense and go, there's maybe 5 good missions, and maybe it's actually 4. In the GHB, there's a lot of not very good competitive missions, and some of them are not good because of how they base around a terrible mechanic that is Galatian Veterans and Bounty Hunters. And look, I could say I love this edition because I won my first ever GT in this edition, but I think for me the big issue is everyone was playing with certain units. So we had the Monster Edition where it did work for the monsters to focus on monsters, but the issue was everyone, or the vast majority of people, already had monsters that they want to play, and or already had counters to monsters in the game. So with that, people were already playing sort of that style game. And so in this current GHB, though, we've changed and variants, which are these things that are sometimes battle line units, but are sometimes, sometimes the unit's battle line, so sometimes it's Galatian Veteran, then sometimes it's not. You can play a Skaven army that's got a Plague Monk unit that's Galatian Veterans and a Plague Monk unit that is not Galatian Veterans. You can even play a Plague Monk army that's got a Plague Monk unit and a Plague Sensor Barrier unit that are both Galatian Veterans, and then one of each of those that are not. And I think it's super confusing for an instance of someone new getting into it, but it's also just not a clean mechanic where it was before. Monsters give you extra points, monsters get extra stuff. It worked. I think, they would have been better off going, all infantry. Not all battle line, because all battle line still has those same issues of sometimes is, sometimes not. But literally anything with 4 wounds or less. Doesn't matter. Anything 4 wounds or less or amount, doesn't matter if it's battle line or not, could have been Galatian Veterans. That would have been a better Galatian Veteran system. But then Bounty Hunters is still an issue on that anyway. Old World, I'm certainly super excited for. I've got quite a few Warhammer Fantasy armies that I want to put together. I've got a Dwarf one I'm probably going to paint sometime soon because there's a Warhammer Fantasy tournament coming up in South Australia. And Anders, hello, mate. Hope you're doing well. That being said, all that stuff about the GHB, the battle times have been fantastic, and the core rule set and the FAQs we've been getting for battle times and core rule sets have been smashed out the park, have been fantastic for Age of Sigmar. So for all that stuff about the GHB, the other stuff, amazing. Yeah, I've got a rather large dwarf army. I've got heaps of old dwarfs. I've got miners and grudge throwers and organ guns, cannons, bolt throwers, bunch of old metal dwarves. So an actual proper dwarf army. Yeah, it's a old school fantasy dwarves. So I'll be getting them done up. So that'll be a project soon. Well, if you have a Space Hulk set, man, talk to me about that offline, because I've been looking for one. Who knows? We might be able to come to some agreement. Speaking of that, I have Dreadfleet. Speaking of old GW board games, I got Dreadfleet, which I want to get painted up. I will say, one thing GW does well. People go, "Oh, GW can't make a good rule set." Play their board games that they bring out, even the ones that come in boxes. So, like the Betrayal at Couth game, when that box out, I know everyone bought that and no one played that game. The actual Betrayal at Couth board game that you could use those miniatures for in that box set, that board game is fantastic. And so many of their board games are things like Lost Patrol, Gangs of Cormorant. They're all really, really fun games to play. I've actually got the latest lot of board games. I've got to paint them up, but the board games that are being sold by over here, it's being sold by EB Games or Zing. I've got them and I want to paint them up. Yeah, a lot of them I don't have. I was younger when a lot of them came out. Dreadfleet was just one I happened to get. So the first highlight on all the leather straps. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Halo game did not do well. It's another one that I'm really sad because I'm a bit of an anime nerd. When I was younger, I've seen the miniatures for anime and I'm like, oh, that looks sweet. And then it's not done well, which is sad. But that being said, more games are surviving nowadays because there is more space. Actually have a what do we call Baratheon starter set down there. I've played a couple of games of it. I think it's a fun game. Yeah, 2-player starter sets. Yeah, the amount I bought are funny. Yeah, I like Song of Ice and Fire. That is certainly on the list of games to get up and running. Yeah, in the end, you can't force people to play another game, but I think the worst thing you can do trying to get someone else into another game is mention Warhammer while talking about that game. As soon as you have a wargamer that knows about Warhammer, and you go, but this does this better than Warhammer, they're not interested. They will be like, everything then from that on point, they'll be comparing to Warhammer, and because they like Warhammer, it'll always be the better game to them. I think the best thing you can do when get into a war game and it's a different one is go, hey, Nate, I really like this Elder Scrolls game I've got. Would you like to come around and check it out? I really like the equipment system for it. It's cool. You can upgrade your character just like in Skyrim. Would you like to come check it out? I'm more likely to get you interested just by telling you about the game, not mentioning anything else and going, I like this game. Do you want to come try it? As soon as you start comparing it to other games, you're bound to be disappointed because if it doesn't do the thing they like in that other game, you're fighting an uphill battle. You know? And a lot of skirmish games will suffer from the point of a lot of people like 40k and Age of Sigmar because they have big armies. Whether or not, that's feasible in a cost perspective, a lot of people like those games because of that big army feel. And as soon as you start trying to sell them a skirmish game and doesn't have that big army feel, they're not really interested. There also seems to be like a trend of like people attacking other people for doing certain things or liking certain things in the hobby, and that just ruffles my feathers so bad. Like, let people hobby and call themselves what they like and what they want to do. Let them dictate their own hobby. As soon as you start trying to influence people on what they should be, how they should be hobbying, you're going to be fighting a big uphill battle. Yeah, dude, that's completely fine. If you found 40k hard and it wasn't for you, then that's fine. Like, I don't see an issue with someone going, I tried it wasn't for me. I will say, Rock, if you want to try and get into 40k again, if you want to give it a go, try playing open play from the core rulebook rather than a standard sort of match play game of 40k. Just put models down on the table, no stratagems, none of that, and just learn those mechanics first and then start going, cool. Stratagems, bit by bit. I think there's certainly some stuff you can do to make 40k easier to enter. It is certainly not the easiest game to get into. I think it is probably one of the most complex game systems I play at a baseline level. I do think it is not as difficult to grasp once you're in that first level. There is a lot of similarity between a lot of things. Once you get past that initial barrier, it's not the highest ceiling game I would say I play, but it is certainly one of the highest floors of a game system I play. James, we are working on some Rohirrim. So Riders of Rohan for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. Or if you really love the 40k miniatures and you like the universe, try Kill Team. Same like universe. You can use a lot of the same miniatures. Just a smaller scale game. Hey, Domir, hello, mate. Good to see you. Yeah, Warcry. I would say Warcry is my favorite miniatures game. Not even close. I love Warcry. It is so easy to pick up, play, so easy a game. And it does have like a lot of nice little tricks to it. I like the reaction system they brought into the game. I think that's added just a little bit extra to it. But like the activation, like a lot of people I know when they play Warcry, they don't pass. And I would say we probably don't show it enough passing enough on the channel either. But like when you're really deep into it, Warcry can be really tactical. It's just super easy to play. Like there's no armor saves, there's no sort of stat comparison. It's just am I higher, am I lower, roll a dice, do damage, aim to roll. I guess Warcry's key strategy is roll sixes. Roll more sixes, do better. Is a key facet of Warcry's gameplay. If you roll lots of sixes, you'll have a good time with Warcry. If you don't roll lots of sixes, it's maybe not the game for you. Rock, I'm glad, man. Like that is my whole aim with the channel is to try and just it's like those books, Baby's First Warhammer, or I'm not calling you a dummy, but like have you seen the like the cooking for dummies and all that sort of. That was the initial idea behind the channel. So generally the rule is no monsters. Nothing generally bigger than on a large cavalry base. Yeah, you can get all the rules for Warcraft for free, all the war bands, everything, except battle plans. But you can just put minis on the table and play a game. But yeah, you can get the core rules and all the warband rules are all free to download on warhammercommunity.com. Go to download section, go to Warcry, header, and you'll find everything you need. Can have a good solid read on there. The update to it, 2.0, was like literally just an FAQ really to the original system. The only real new mechanic is reactions, which was a good addition to the game, but like they just added like full damage is now used to be over 3 inch, which used to not matter because all GW's terrain is in 3 inch allotments. So now it's if you fall 2 inches or more, you take full damage, so it makes terrain matter a little bit more. You can totally Sparta kick people off the side of buildings or try and save your life and jump off the edge of a building. Yeah, and the monsters are very specific on what can be included. If you're looking at interested in that, we have a ton of videos up on the channel on getting started with Warcry. If you're looking for the cheap and easy way to get into the game, certainly just go one of the actual Warcry warbands. Is the best way to get started. Then you can work on like Age of Sigmar style army ones later. James, hello. Good to see you, mate. Don't forget, everyone, if you are watching, drop a like on the video. It helps people come find us while we're live. All that algorithm good stuff helps us do a little bit better. Oh, nice. The rules haven't changed all that much, and like I said, you can get the updated rules for free. We're painting some Riders of Rohan today for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. Yeah, the Slaves to Darkness one. Buying the double box is really good because there are a bunch of war bands that have multiple miniatures or do well with doing that. GW battle box. What battle boxes are we talking about, Rock? Out of the one like the Christmas box sets? Yeah, the Xmas boxes. All right. I think there's two AOS there's AOS ones I really like, but obviously I've got a lot of AOS, so most of them don't appeal to me. The only two I'd consider for Age of Sigmar are Nighthorn and Krulboys, because I don't own any of the big Krulboys pieces, and I don't own a Linda or a Black Coach for my Nighthorn. So I don't need to get to one. I've got everything. I don't need to scale one. I've got everything in there as well. and Sylvaneth, I've got everything in there. Like, none of them sort of appeal to me just because I have it. Stormcast is interesting because I don't have a few of the pieces that are in there, but it's maybe not as exciting as, I don't think any of the AOS ones truly excite me. 40k I'm much more interested in. I really do like the Sisters of Battle one because they're my favorite Sisters of Battle models, and I don't have any Sisters of Battle yet. I love the Morven Vale miniature and the Paragon suits. The Custodes one is just amazing. It's such a good box set. And the Raven Guard one I'm a little bit interested in, mainly because I love the Invictus Tactical Warsuit. It's my favorite Space Marine miniature. So that does interest me a little bit, but I think definitely probably the one that I was most excited for, and I'd probably get if I get one, is probably the Sisters of Battle. I think they've upped their production on them now, because we had the issues. All those issues stopped being when a lot of the COVID issues have stopped. So I think they're just able to, as they're catching up on where they wanted to be production-wise, I think we're just seeing those boxes come out more, like more stock of that stuff coming out, which is cool. For the Leagues of Votan, I would honestly go the Start Collecting box that came out after the launch box. But both boxes are good. I think particularly maybe purchasing a double of the Start Collecting is a little bit better than... But it's a decent starter box. Yeah, look, I'm happy if those boxes stick around for 6 months. Good. I don't have an issue with that. Oh, nice. Gloomspite warbands. Gloomspite is so much fun to paint. I think right up there with one of my favorite projects I've ever done is the Gloomspite Force I have. That's probably up there with my ogres. Yeah, the wife has probably bought me a ton of stuff Warhammer wise for Christmas. I'll have to wait and see what she gets me. It's a good thing, because I own so much. She just buys me random Warhammer stuff. My wife is a bit of a gamer herself, so she sort of knows, she knows what I have, what I don't. She knows what I like. Oh, yep, choice to respo. I did see someone do for a Warcry warband, instead of reposing all their spider riders to make them different, they just painted a bunch of different types of spiders, and that really sort of lent it to getting the different spider riders. So, you'd have a red back and then a blue spider and a green spider and all these different colors of spiders, and that was how they told the different models in their force. Yeah, Land Fortress is super cool. I really dig the Votan minis. It'll be something I look to get to eventually for the channel. The only issue with getting a game in against the wife is, well, kids. We have 2 very young children, so it's the biggest issue with getting the wife in for a game. Yeah, maybe if she gets me like the pile I probably expect, I probably will do like, it'll probably just be something like YouTube Shorts or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I've only got the 2, but they are like 3 and 4. So, my daughter's a full-time job. My daughter's non-verbal autistic, so she is a full-time job. Which is good. Make me feel very young, Nate. But yeah, it's been great. Like the fun fact of like that this is now my job has been great because everyone's supporting the channel via Patreon and YouTube members or watching content on the channel has allowed me to take this on as a full-time job. Which has allowed me to be home to help my daughter more and help my wife and my daughter more. So I couldn't be more thankful for everyone who watches, supports in any way. Massive, massive help. Look, I hope, dude, I've been in like kitchens for so long. For those who don't know, I was a chef by trade. I have no doubt my little boy will probably want to get into it. He likes coming out. He's actually painted. If I can get stuff out the way. My little boy is only 4, but he's already painted his first mini. I had him at my table the other day while the wife was cleaning the house, and he just used some of my. Just got some of the old paints, with like a little bit left in them that I really didn't care if he muddled up. What's $20 a paint to keep him in the corner and keep him happy for a day? But he painted up a Stormcast. So I got one of his Stormcast in my shelf. But I've no doubt my little man would probably get into the hobby at some point. Like he likes being out here. He likes checking out the stuff. He's very much into stuff. So he'll probably join me at some point. My daughter likes being out here as well. Funnily enough, she likes putting all my miniatures in lines. It's quite funny. Like I was so worried when she first grabbed one because normally everything goes in her mouth. She mouths a lot of stuff for sensory issues and stuff like that. But she actually, like when the minis, they're all knocked over and she could see the one standing up next to them. So she was grabbing all the minis I just put back on the shelf, not standing up, and was standing there, just putting all my minis the right way up, standing them all up one by one. And I came over and there's just this line of minis all stood up. So she's actually really good with them. I've got a chair over in the corner just over there that can't be moved because it's her chair. And if it's not there when she walks in, she's not very happy with me. No worries, Rock. Have a good day, mate. We'll catch you another time. Yeah, it's been interesting because I know like maybe don't have as many subscribers as some other channels, but I've certainly been able to make the channel work for me. So I think it goes to show like I know I do quite significant numbers, just because I do quite a significant amount of content. So it's been quite good to see like the channel like continue to grow. I'm slowly making some way back up because I did lose a little bit off the way while we were in hospital sick, unfortunately, but sort of picking back up from there again. It's quite annoying seeing like my graph is like, but like all of a sudden goes back up, but it's still telling me I'm doing terrible in all my YouTube sort of infographics. So it takes the last 28 days. It's telling me, oh, half of those days you've done terrible. But in fact, it's back to sort of normal. If I go check like 7 days, it's pretty much where it should be. Yeah, like look, I looked at the last 7 days, and it's like I can continue. I'm growing still. The important part. Yeah, like I know there are channels that are bigger than me that I'm doing statistic wise doing like making more money than and all that sort of stuff. So doing more views, getting more subscribers on a regular basis. I continue to overtake channels I've watched. So we're on the right path, which is cool. I think my proudest part is I try to avoid clickbait as much as possible. I try to keep my channel focused on being a positive hobby place, and I try not to do clickbait. Not all the time. Sometimes I do. Things that might be sort of clickbaity because they're based on the new sort of stuff. Yeah, that is a massive part of it. Is evergreen content. It's not always evergreen, but like a getting started video for an Age of Sigmar army lasts an edition realistically, or lasts until it's net booked, which realistically lasts 3 years and continues to do well for 3 years. And randomly they pick up every now and again, like if like an FAQ comes and changes, like Imperial Knights have gotten really good in 40k recently, and my Imperial Knight video I did on getting started with them is all of a sudden shot up in views out of nowhere because it's just been hitting the right sort of spot. On the same point now that like when Cruel Boys have got some points dropped, all of a sudden Cruel Boy videos that I had in the background are doing just popped up out of nowhere doing well. I think my favorite part of like looking at analytics though, more than anything, is seeing where your views come from. Like seeing all around the world and seeing the places you would not expect. Like Australia is not even in my top 6 demographics anymore. I think it's obviously US, UK are the 2 main ones. Then Germany, Canada, France. Who's next? Denmark, Australia. Apparently, I have a big following in Denmark. So I'm gonna go to Denmark sometime. yeah, like dude, like Rock On before saying he's enjoyed the videos is exactly what you want to hear. You want to hear that the stuff you put out has helped someone get into the hobby. I mean, that is the whole point of my channel. Is it's supposed to be a channel where people can come, and you can. I like the idea that people can grow from my channel. They might not always stay. You might enjoy my channel and you might stay, but I like the idea that I grow. I'm an entry sort of place in the hobby, and maybe you stick around, maybe you don't, but maybe you go look at someone else's channel who's doing some high level stuff. You go look at Honest Wargamer or something like that, and go look at that next level. I don't try to be that next level. I think there's plenty of people out there that do that next level of hobby, do it much better than me, and probably enjoy it much more than me. It's funny. One of my videos is just a little bit of research, and it's one of my best doing videos. I think it's now second. I think it's been overtaken by something else. But it was when like Henry Cavill got in. Like I did a big spiel on like why as a young kid I never got to look at my heroes or like the people I enjoyed watching on TV being open about doing something nerdy like Warhammer. It wasn't a common thing. And the point of like Henry Cavill sort of coming out talking about Warhammer, being quite open about it, this big Hollywood superstar, and him being quite open about it made me go, well, this is really cool. Like this is something for kids nowadays to go, look, this actual famous dude, this big Hollywood movie star plays the game that I play. And I did a big video talking about, like a bunch of movie stars that do it, or, like celebrities that do it. And yeah, that video took off. That video did nuts. But it is just like, it was just a cool thing that like, I'm like, there is a point to it of like, this is something cool that like kids nowadays can get. You have someone that is popular. Like I know, like WWE, Shayna Baszler, all these kids watching wrestling. There is a massive crossover in the Warhammer community and the wrestling community. Huge crossover between the two things. But it's nice to see it sort of recognized. I love watching WWE to see what wrestling gear Shayna Baszler's wearing this time. I have done a few getting started videos and like lore specific ones. So I know, or like sort of armies like that, Gene. I guess you could say like the 40k one of them I did. But yeah, I have done a couple sort of like that. I guess like I did one about like a flayed one army, sort of being on the narrative of that. I did do those a while. Something like when Broken Realms was coming out, I did ones focusing on the Broken Realms battalions, sort of showing them off. Yeah, I've got two videos that are about to hit 100k. So one is that celebrity one, and the other one is a best and worst armies in Age of Sigmar video. So I've got two videos about to hit 100k. It does just take that one video. Like I remember that one. It just went nuts. That's true. Yeah, cool. Yeah. That's a way I haven't thought about putting it. That is a cool way of thinking about it. I think at this point they're both at 95k, so they're close. I'll be back in 1 second. Just grab some. Back. Oh, we're back. That's fair, man. I think, it's always worth a good go. And look, if you ever have terrain projects you want to get rid of, I know a certain YouTube channel can certainly use those terrain projects. If you ever try to get rid of stuff. Nice. Yeah, I think it's different. It is finding that sort of place that you want to be and doing that thing that you can keep doing. I always think positive hobby will always, in the long run, end up serving you better than being negative or anything on the community. Mainly because a lot of people do this. It's all good, man. I am 100% joking. Because this community is generally a lot of people that do this in their spare time, you'll find a lot of people just don't want to engage in negativity, whether it's earned or not earned by companies. A lot of people just won't want to engage in it just because for every person, yeah, and you'll have these people that you for every one, you're probably turning away two people that just can't stand it. And you just run yourself into the ground. If you just focus on being negative, it's just gonna run yourself into the ground being negative all the time. Much better off if something's not enjoying or you're just not again. Just move on and talk about something else. I'll say that. Yep, 100%. And I have witnessed it so much. Look, and it happened. Being as negative as that can be as damaging to the hobby. Being overly negative can be as damaging to the hobby. Yeah. I try not to block on anyone because unless it's outright racist bullshit, that sort of stuff. I try not to because I like confronting people. I try to make a point of confronting people when they are falsifying info or telling half truths. Telling half truths is my pet hate. In the end, though, damn it. Look, SA was in a bad spot for wargaming for such a long time. I mean, we only had the GW stores for so long. Hobby Matrix closed down for years. We didn't have a good games. We briefly had Toy Collector, which was a thing. And we briefly had, the hobby store, D&D store that was in the city and the arcade at the end of the train station. It was so hard to find hobby places. And now we are really spoiled for choice. We've got, Hobby Matrix up and running, which apparently is becoming a good game soon. Apparently, I am not old enough to remember that, or maybe just didn't know about it. But now, we're really spoiled for choice in South Australia now. We've obviously got both Dragon's Lairs in Salisbury and St. Clair. Not St. Clair, St. Mary's. We've got there's one on Port Road. I forget the name of it. Night something. Night Models, maybe it's called. We've got Black Star Gaming. We've got The Den. We've obviously got Tabletop Warfare. We've got the GW store still. We've got a Good Games, and apparently another Good Games is going to be the Hobby Matrix is going to be another Good Games. yeah, we really are on a better place now for gaming, especially up north. Like up north this way, the fact that we've got AGW and GW Modbury, we've got Hobby Matrix, we've got 2 Tabletop Warfares, we've got Dragon's Lair Salisbury. Plus we've got like hobby shops, you've got, Hobby Habit and all that sort of stuff. And we've got gaming clubs like Garrison and Group North up this way as well. Yeah, I've heard so many bad things about when it was in TDP, when it took over the Games Workshop spot. I've heard so many bad stories. I will say I've met Paul. I went to, that's where the Warhammer Fantasy event I went to a little while ago was. And he was really nice. He was really accommodating, really good bloke. I'm good friends with Pete, who runs Dragon Lair Salisbury. My mate Nick, who's on the channel all the time, works at Tabletop Warfare. Gambra Computers, just down the road from me, is fantastic. Sal is amazing as a dude. Really, really helpful, and can't do enough to like help you out. I've heard so many bad things about Hobby Matrix when it was in TDP. Just building the models right now, but so far 2 Loom Bosses, True Mancer, 4 Squigs, Squig-Headed Stabbers, Netta Primed. Nice. I absolutely love the Gobblepalooza. They are fantastic as minis. Had so many bad things about that store when I was there. But yeah, Adelaide's in a much better place than it was, say, even 10 years ago, we had an eighth of the amount of hobby stuff we have in the state now. Like maybe even a tenth. Like it's been such a good like rise for Adelaide hobby scene. Like I'm finding hobbyists all the time. Yeah, Pete's not the most knowledgeable on Warhammer. He has made an effort to play, which is really good. He does play every now and again, but he's not the most knowledgeable at it. But like, it's just good to have sources all around. Like, and even like little places like, and even like somewhere like Giambra, where it is literally just a computer store that stocks Warhammer now. Really nice to sort of see that sort of place be able to exist. Yeah, for like us, it's like people go like, "Oh, but Tabletop Warfare is like local; it's in Gaul." I'm like, that's still like 25 minutes away. Like at that point, I might as well go like. Unfortunately, like just due to health reasons, I've not been out as much as I wanted to places. Fun enough, like Hobart was like my first time really going out somewhere. And it got back and I got really, really sick after that. So yeah. It's just unfortunate. I've been quite sort of, I guess, reclusive, would be how to put it really. I've not been able to. Like every time I've gotten sick since COVID with like a cold or something, it's been bad. Like last time I got like a chest infection. Was why I was in hospital, because then I got pneumonia from a chest infection from RSV. respiratory virus. And that's why I was out of action for a little bit. So yeah, it was not fun. And so now I'm just back to being reclusive again. It's like I can't get that sick again. Not straight away. We've at least got to give it a few months to catch back up. Yeah, whole family came down with it. Both me and the daughter had pneumonia, which was not cool. Wife and the boy luckily escaped pneumonia, but they both went well. They both still had RSV. Like the whole family had RSV. No worries. Have a good night, Nate. Thank you very much for coming on the chat, man. When I have my Kings of War stuff all painted up, I'll certainly get you around for some games. Slowly but surely, getting all these horses done. But yeah, this has been quite a fun little. Been really getting into my painting mojo lately, which means I've been listening to a ton of Black Library. I've just finished putting together 3 Black Library reviews because we just finished 3 stories over the past week. So I finished up Blood of Asselheim, which is a Space Wolf story, which is pretty cool. Just finished the first book in the Dawn of Fire series, so Avenging Sun. We just finished up Brotherhood of the Storm as well, which is a White Scars Horus Heresy story. So just finished all of them. Now we started. Next story I've started is what's it called? Briar Dark. Next Warhammer Horror story. Actually pretty cool. Really enjoying it. And I've got a Carskin to read, Grombrindle. This one's going to try to catch up on novels I've just had sitting in my Audible library that I purchased and not read or listened to, rather. All right, now I need some Screamer Pink. This will be for the horse's tongues. So we're just painting horse tongues at the moment. Picking them out with a bit of a Screamer Pink. If you're doing some hobbying and you're watching along, let us know what you're getting up to. Love to hear from everyone. Just looking at where I need to put them in. And so with that, I've got another large stage to do next, so we might call it here for the night. But thank you all for coming, hanging, hobbying, and chatting with us tonight. We will see you all again real soon. Thank you everyone for coming and watching. Don't forget you can help join the channel, support us on either Patreon, YouTube members, or grab some channel merch, some stickers, some shirts, a couple of mugs, all down in the video's description, either via Patreon, YouTube members, Ko-fi, or our Teespring store. All helps the channel keep doing what we're doing. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao.